we have to invest that money because people aren't gonna do it
Right.
on their own.
But for that investment, it would still be whatever it was before.
But there's still, you're taking money back out.
Money that never would have been there in the first place.
But if you reduce taxes, you make it easy, people come in all by themselves.
But people will put in roads and sewers, and most of what we've done has been infrastructure. The pool seems to get the most attention, but the people who bring businesses to localities tell us that businesses are looking for cities that not only have nice roads, but they also have amenities for their employees. This was before I was on the council, but we lost a large business to Westfield area, and my understanding was at the time, one of the main reasons was they had better amenities for their employees than what we have here. Now, some ones on the council then may be able to address that better, but all the things that are the TIP money spent for are things by law that have to benefit the TIP district. And the idea is that they will draw businesses in, and that it's the investment, you mentioned capitalization, it's the investment of the money into that area that creates the tax revenue that would not exist if it wasn't for the expenditure by the TIP.
So your answer to my question is the personal property tax isn't gonna be captured by the TIP, and so that's gonna come into the general funds.
Well, it currently does, yeah. Now, it's not just the general fund. I mean, you understand that there are, I don't know, when I got my tax money, there's 6 or 7 taxing entities that get my property tax. And that would be, even though you can't TIF residential property, so TIF is all business properties. They pay a certain amount, and that would be divided up on the personal property, divided up among all the taxing entities.
Okay. As you're selling these different projects, you might want to keep that thought in mind, because that was the concern, and frankly, my neighbor's concern as well, that we're tipping these areas and it looks like the money's being taken away from public safety, from schools.
That's probably the biggest thing about TIF. Most people don't know exactly how it works. And so they kind of read into it what they like to read into it, instead of, like you come tonight, and I'm sure that maybe, I hope that you have learned something about what different TIP is than what you thought. Maybe somebody else out there did as well too. And people just don't completely understand, and they just think you are taking it out of the taxing district, and it's not really the case. But my question to you is this. I agree with you on one thing, is about the police department, fire department being really, really good. Am I missing something about the city not being safe because the parents are going out? Because when I take my kids out, I do it out of love. I don't do it because I don't feel like they're safe, unsafe. You know what I mean? Am I missing something?
Every single kid, that was the thing that struck me.
I think that's more of a societal thing in general.
And that may be
anything in Greenwood.
But you sit at the stoplight now and you watch how many cars run through the red light. That's, and when I was 14 or 15, I had a friend of mine who said that it wouldn't be very long before you wouldn't be able to tell the difference between Indianapolis and Greenwood. Now, there was almost a fist fight, okay, because I'm very much a Greenwood person. But it's getting more and more looking like
It's all connected. It's just all connected. You're right.
And so my concern is that we're not keeping up, that we're falling behind the curve, and that we're taking our eye off the ball, because our primary responsibility, this group's primary responsibility, is to keep the people of Greenwood safe. And so, I would like to see more emphasis on that out of this group, rather than we just, we're constantly bombarded with the next thing we're going to spend money.
I think you're grasping at straws, Mr. Smith, and I appreciate your time. Is there, next person, please?
Thank you.
Mr. President?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Good evening. My name is Bob Wildman. My office is at 111 Monument Circle, Indianapolis. I'm here on behalf of Mr. Greg Allen, and we're here to voice our objection to what we understand to be an effort by the council or some members of the council to rezone property that Mr. Allen owns along Emerson Avenue against his wishes from I-1 category to the C2 category. He owns about 27 acres along Emerson Avenue, which Ken here has a drawing of the property in question, is this property here. A portion of that property, when Mr. Allen acquired it, it was all zoned I-1 about 10 years ago. He voluntarily zoned it to C2 in the front, thinking there might be some office potential use there, and retained the I-1 zoning in the rear. We've had a project for that portion, the Goodwill Distribution Center, which I'm sure you've all heard about. And as currently proposed, this distribution center would sit entirely on the I-1 portion of the property. I understand that the effort is being made through the council's request to the Plan Commission to prevent that by rezoning this property to a C2 category. The Plan Commission approved unanimously the original Goodwill proposal. As you can see, it's entirely surrounded by I-1 zoning and I-1 uses. It's really not going to be a detriment to anyone's property value. And in fact, we believe it's going to be a catalyst for development in an area that has long been stagnant. When Goodwill Center is put in, they'll be building an access drive into the property. There'll be extended utilities, they'll be providing drainage, all of which will make this frontage area more attractive for development. So it's in some sense ironic that you would oppose a project which will have to help facilitate the C2 kind of development that you're apparently seeking. I suspect that this move on the attempt to rezone this property is a knee-jerk reaction to Goodwill. I think if we brought in an Amazon distribution center or a Target distribution center, we wouldn't be having this kind of conversation, but apparently there are parties here who think that Goodwill is an undesirable user of some sort. As you know, Goodwill is a national organization. They serve millions of people, underprivileged people, disabled people. They provide support, education, jobs. We think they're a good use. They're going to do a nice building here, set 800 feet back from the frontage of Emerson Avenue, so it's not going to have any impact along Emerson. We understand the council may further be considering not only trying to rezone Mr. Allen's property, but rezoning all of this area you see here, which is I-1 to C2, again, without the consent of any of the property owners. I know many of the property owners are concerned about that. I think many of them are here tonight. If all those Emerson property owners can stand up or hold up their hands or concerned about this. By eliminating I-1, you're going to create substantial problems for those uses already existing there that are covered by the I-1 zoning. You're also going to severely limit development opportunities along this area. I don't know what kind of studies you've done or what kind of expert opinions you've got, but we can tell you that there is no demand for C2 all along that area. To think that that's all going to be developed as retail or medical office, or I've even heard life science center, I think that's a pipe dream. Our experience has been otherwise. We've owned this property for 10 years, as I've said. We've had no significant proposals from anyone, any development there until Goodwill came along. And part of our property is already zoned C2. Mr. Allen owns this property over here, Emerson Point. There's 15 acres undeveloped on the south end of that, also zoned C2, also undeveloped. So I don't see the big demand out in this area that's going to provide the users to absorb that amount of C2 development. Mr. Allen has a substantial development or a substantial investment in this area, as you know. He's got not only the shopping center, he developed 3 office buildings directly across from this parcel. He developed office buildings on County Line Road. And he's not going to support this Goodwill project if he thinks it's going to hurt the property values out there. And said, we think it's a catalyst for development. Activity tends to breed activity, and that's what we're hoping to do here. Mr. Allen has been a long-time developer and resident of Greenwood, and he's developed several commercial and residential projects in town, all of which I think you would agree would be considered high quality, a credit to the town, create substantial assessed value, and yet here we are fighting to have what we think is a very good project done here in an area where we can create some more activity, some more assessed value, some more development. And the council's considering rezoning his property without his consent just to prevent that. We're going to oppose this, and we would ask you to reconsider your thoughts, not only about our property, but rezoning the rest of the I-1 property on this corridor. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
The only thing I want to point out is this doesn't have anything to do with Goodwill or Target or Amazon for that matter. We just think distribution centers are better left east of I-65. Maybe the council before, maybe they wanted to see distribution centers west of I-65. There's been a change of course. We want to see that area as commercial, office space. Doesn't have anything to do with Goodwill.
Well, it didn't come up until Goodwill came up, so
That's because, I bet most of us didn't even know that that was I-2 in there and that you could put a warehouse in that area. So once it was brought to our attention, yes, we made steps to change that zoning. So appreciate you coming.
Thank you.
Ms. Gibson, did you?
Yes, I would like to ask that ordinance 1507 regarding the ground communication outlet at the airport be a walk-on and introductions.
Second. Motion by Ms. Gibson, second by Mr. Court. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Armstrong,
Aye.
Bates.
Aye.
Campbell,
Aye.
Corey,
Aye.
Gibson, Hill, Hopper,
Aye.
Ford, and McLaughlin.
Aye.
It's on the agenda. Anyone else in the audience? All right, moving on. Corporation Council.
You all should have received my report for this week. In addition to my report, you all should have received a copy of the annual report for item. This is something that pursuant to the compliance plan we are required to provide to you each year. It summarizes our efforts to date on the compliance plan for 2014. The 2014 year has focused largely on 3 areas. First is the GIS mapping system. The GIS mapping system is what's completed with respect to the sanitary sewer mains. It continues to be ongoing for private sanitary sewer laterals as well as storm sewers. By the end of this year, we hope to have it up and operational enough so that all the maintenance reports, customer complaints, capital projects, etc., are also all stored via GIS and are linked that way. The second major item that we've been working on this year in 2014 has been the capital improvement plan. The council passed a rate increase for sanitary sewer and then also issued the 2014 sanitary sewer revenue bonds. Those were all done so that we can begin implementation of the capital improvement plan. That implementation is currently underway. We have begun design work on the Western Interceptor project, which if you recall is a major project on the west side of the sewer system that will help relieve some of the inflow and infiltration. Design and specifications have also been completed for 2 projects in the Old Town, downtown Greenwood area, which is Pearl Street and Basin 25. Those 2 projects are currently out to bid, and we will be awarding that bid in early February with construction to be ongoing throughout the year and completed by this fall. The third item that we have been working on this year has been the inflow and infiltration reduction program through our sump pump pilot program. We began that program in Whispering Meadows in the spring. It went to Alden Place in the fall, and we will be rolling out a new program in the spring. Through that program, we have an engineering firm come in, inspect the homes, determine whether the sump pump is properly connected to the storm system instead of the sanitary system, and offer reimbursement of up to $500 for people to properly connect it. So all of that has been accomplished, as you noticed in the report, we've made all of our deadlines under the compliance plan. We also timely submitted our reports last year in January and July to item, and they were both received favorably. The Board of Works at their meeting approved the January semi-annual report for this year, and I will submit that early next week, late this week. Does anyone have any questions about item, the compliance plan, or what's going on? Mr. Bates?
Ms. Council, on page 4,
Yes.
I know we did the rate increases beginning of July of last year, 9.3%. Well, the impression that another one took place beginning of this month is also 9.3%. Is that correct?
That is correct.
I thought so, but it didn't state out there as such. And I just want to be clear on that. My second question is on page 5. Do we know yet where phase 3 might be taking place?
The
Part of the community?
The deputy mayor, sanitation superintendent, and stormwater superintendent are in discussions now about that. We have a quarterly IDAM team meeting within the next week, and we'll be discussing the communities that are under consideration and when that will be rolled out. I expect within the next month or two, we'll have that.
Were we able to get any feedback on the area of Whispering Trails and the neighborhood there now that went over and what kind of response we got?
Yes, I can provide you that feedback. I can have Chris Jones, I'll talk to him about getting some data to you for your next meeting.
Last comment or question, the Board of Public Works, they're meeting tomorrow, they didn't meet today.
No, they did meet today.
And it says here, June, at the very bottom of the page, it says January 20th, it should be 19th then.
Okay. Yep, I will fix that.
Thank you.
Controlling, that back there, Kathy back there.
Adam is not here today. I will be here.
You voted?
Yeah.
Anything to report?
Do you have something to
Second.
report?
Committee and board reports. Mr. Greenwood, do you have anything?
Yes, I submitted a report to all of you, I believe it was included in your packets as well, about our latest RDC meeting last Tuesday. We elected officers, the same officers were re-elected. Mike Tapp as president, Brett Tilson as vice president, Brian Harris as secretary. We had updates from the engineering department, and there's quite a bit of information there about different things. If you have any questions, just feel free to let me know.
I also distributed a report from the planning commission.
All right. Ordinances and resolutions, notice, attempt to consider ordinance 15.
An ordinance to amend the text of ordinance 82-1, the zoning code, article 22, definitions as amended. This is sponsored by Ms. Gibson. This is a very simple ordinance. Mr. Peoples, do you want to speak to it?
No, I'm here to answer questions. I didn't know if you
Let's
wanted
get
to say
a,
it
fair
or not.
motion, first of all, I guess. Motion by Ms. Gibson, second by Mr. Clark. All right. Anybody have any questions for Mr. Gibson?
This is simply adding the definition of tent to our list of definitions.
That is correct, yeah. It was a lot more complex when we first filed it. As we whittled it down, it became basically 4 lines.
And the reason for that is there was some confusion. We did not define tent, and we wanted to make sure that our definition of tent is the same as the state's. So now our definition of tent is the same as included in the state's building code, so that when you are required to get a permit through the state for a tent, it matches up with the local line, as opposed to sort of having divergent